vinyl community, Who fans, random people on the internet. My name is Giggins. Today we're doing another album review. This time it's for The Who's 1967 brilliant psychedelic pop masterpiece, The Who Sell Out. This exact copy is a 2008 reissue on Vinyl Lovers. It's blue, pretty cool, and it sounds amazing. It really sounds good. I wish it came with a replica of the original poster, but that's okay. So in this series of album reviews that I'm doing, I really want to focus on albums that don't get a lot of attention. I will sort of deviate from the norm every once in a while. This one, it's gotten a lot of attention, I would guess, but it might not be well known to other people outside of Who fans. You know, most people think of The Who, they think maybe Bob O'Reilly or Tommy or My Generation. Maybe not so much Armonia, City in the Sky. So, I'm going to talk about The Who Sell Out today. A little bit of history for you. Pre-Sellout Who was very much an R&B band, as most Who fans know. They started off in 1964 as The Who, changed their name to the High Numbers, changed their name back to The Who. Well, they started as the Detours years before that. Anyways, they put out two albums, My Generation in 1965 and a quick one in 1966 known as Happy Jack over here in America. My Generation was mostly R&B focused, lots of James Brown covers, a couple originals by Pete, and a quick one was very much a band album. All four of them wrote songs, all four of them sing, which makes for kind of a disjointed, loose sort of feel, but definitely an enjoyable album, especially for the fact that the song A Quick One While He's Away was very much a precursor to what Pete would do on Tommy and Quadrophenia. It was a concept song, a story song, written in several parts, combining different songs together to make one giant song. Which leads us to The Who Sell Out, their 1967 album, which was kind of meant to be like an ironic parody concept album, loosely based off of a radio station. Like if these songs were on the radio station, they wrote fun jingles to station IDs to go along with the album in between songs. Here we go. Wonderful Radio London. Whoopee. And then a song about Heinz Baked Beans. Armonia, City in the Sky, the album that starts off, or the song that starts the album off, is an excellent opener. I mean, if you compare this album to their first two albums, this was a gigantic departure. I mean, 1967 alone saw a lot of musical changes, especially with psychedelic music. Sgt. Pepper changed a lot of things. Disraeli Gears came out that year. So, music was certainly changing, especially after the Monterey Pop Festival where The Who played. So to start off an album with Armonia, City in the Sky, you know, this kind of turn off your mind, relax and flow downstream type lyrics, paired with really trippy horns, fuzzed out guitar, and this, a lot of backwards sort of stuff going on. That whole playing the tape backwards was very popular at that time. We jump into Heinz Baked Beans, and then into Marianne with the Shaky Hands, which, I mean, it doesn't get much more obvious than lyrics like that. They were playing with a lot of different themes at this time. You know, they had a song, Pictures of Lily, which is about growing up. Marianne with the Shaky Hands, which is about growing up and meeting people who might help you with some things. This song is certainly a different song for them in the sense that a lot of acoustic, a lot of wood block, a lot of chimes. I forget what they're called, candinistas, those little finger cymbal things. Very sort of Spanish, Mexican type feel to this song, especially in the middle eight, which would go on to become a lot of what Townsend's acoustic guitar playing was like. It was very Spanish flamenco influenced, a lot of like, you know, dun, 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 kind of stuff. The album goes on we'll do a little bit track by track here. Odorono, the next track, is about a performer with rather rank body odor and how that impacts her professional career, and she should have used Odorono because that would have helped her out. Tattoo is a brilliant song that Pete wrote about discovering who you are, growing up, manhood, what it means to be a man in a culture where, you know, long hair was in fashion and the older generation was making fun of you. And, you know, maybe I should get a tattoo. Maybe that's the manly thing to do. And it's an interesting song for Roger to sing because the last 2 years, when they started, he had this really gruff R&B voice, trying to sound like Howlin' Wolf or somebody. And then you get stuff like this, Marianne with a Shaky Hand, Tattoo, and he sings really sweetly, really softly. And that certainly became more of a style of his as the band progressed. So this album is certainly a turning point in their career. After Tattoo, you got Our Love Is on the American versions, that's what it's called. On the original British ones, this is called Our Love Was. That's a really cool, atmospheric, psychedelic pop song about love lost, and it takes on several musical passages that really create a tension and a sense of bliss, with also a sense of yearning for a love that was, and might not be currently. Lots of fuzzy guitars, really cool guitar solo. You know, this album really showcases Pete's solo work in the sense that it's a little less riffy, a little more Hendrix-like, if you will. I Can See for Miles, unbelievable song. Pete was very heartbroken when it didn't hit #1. He really thought that was going to be a smash hit for them. In the UK, it peaked at #10. In the US, it peaked at #9. Probably due to the Smothers Brothers show, where Keith Moon blew up his drum set and Pete went deaf. Yeah, really angry guitar chords, really chugging rhythm. And Roger's got this, like, you know, I've got you figured out type vocal, like, yo, I am way past this. I Can't Reach You, the next song, is pretty similar to Our Love Was. More that yearning, naive, innocent, you're better than me and I'll never be as great as you, kind of almost teenage-like yearning when you really like someone and then you're pretty sure they just think that you don't exist. The most important part of that song for me is the bass. It just never stops. It's very melodic, very fluid, really bouncy, and it really controls the song. It's certainly the glue of that entire song, if you ask me. So, good job, John. Which leads us to Medac. Very short song about acne, and if you use this cream, you won't have acne anymore. It's like a minute long. Good stuff. Relax, the song that follows that, is probably one of the best songs they ever did pre-Tommy. Absolutely ebullient psychedelic piece about opening your mind and chilling out. Totally Summer of Love inspired, 60s. You know, they jam out in the middle, they get fuzzy, they get rock and roll, you know, going down the rabbit hole, so to speak, and enjoying every part of it. Silas Stingy is the next song after that. John wrote that one. He was really good at writing character pieces, really good at writing character songs, and experimenting with other people's psyche and getting into a character's head and experiencing what that life would be like. Thanks. Anyways, it's a very John song. Very Halloween-like. It's got that organ, that eerie organ that sort of, you know, grounds it underneath. Roger and him both take charge of lead vocals, and Pete jumps in some points too. So that's rather interesting to hear the three of them take different lead roles. You don't hear a whole lot of that throughout their career. The next song, Sunrise, is an absolutely striking performance from Pete. Beautiful acoustic guitar playing and heartbreaking lyrics. He really outdid himself on that song, and it's an amazing moment on the album because you have this like hard rock psychedelic stuff going on, and then just stark rawness of absolute desolation and heartbreak, and it's very effective, especially because Pete's singing it. He's not, at that time he wasn't like the most strong vocalist, but you know, what he sings is true and heartfelt, and that's really what matters. I mean, you don't have to be the best vocalist, but if you believe in what you're singing, it's going to come across as sincere and really make a difference and really translate quite well. And then we end the album with Rael, which was kind of a concept song about... I've always had a hard time with this song. It's definitely not my favorite song. I guess it's about a guy whose country is being invaded and he wants to get dropped off somewhere and fix his country, and he'll get picked up again on Christmas Day of the next year. Musically, it's awesome because there's elements that eventually would be used again in Sparks and Amazing Journey on Tommy during the bridge and during the ending of that song. Not my favorite moment on the album. The ending is cool. It does sound like a good closing track, but overall not my favorite. Overall thoughts on this album and extra random information. It was released in December of 1967. Overall, just a really joyous, fun album to listen to. Great collection of pop songs, really strong tracks. Even the weaker moments, like Rael for me I think is a weaker moment. But even that's a really strong track. And it's amazing because the next year, 1968, they only put out 2 songs. Magic Bus and Dogs. You know, 1968 was a rough year for them, which is very hard to imagine because this sounds so promising that they would have kept going and making more and more music. They did record a lot of music. I think they were going to make an album called Who's for Tennis or something, or I don't know. They recorded a bunch of other songs that have since been released on reissues of this album. Overall, if I give this album a grade, I'd give it an A. It is an absolutely fantastic album. Can't get enough of this thing. I discovered this back when I was in high school. And every time I listen to it, it still sounds fresh, it still sounds fun. Just an absolute joy to put on. And especially this copy just sounds so good. It's so clean and clear. Vinyl Lovers, that's the company that did this one. Anyways, this and a bunch of their other albums are going to be reissued on vinyl in March, including their latest greatest hits package, the Who Hits 50, which is very exciting. So, overall, I can go on talking about this album all day, but I've already done this for about 13 minutes now, and that's just long enough. If you haven't heard this album by The Who, pick it up. You will not be disappointed. If you already have heard this album, put it on again, rediscover it, because there's so much more going on than just what presents itself on first listen. There's so many instruments they've never played with before, or they're using their instruments differently. Lyrical themes they don't really touch on before, but they're touching on here. A lot of personal honesty. Just an absolute fun album to listen to. Really great glimpse of the band in 1967. Pre-Tommy, before they became the big arena rock band that we all know and love them for, they were doing something like this. My name is Giggins. This has been Album Reviews. The Who sell out. Relax and settle down. Thanks.